In the sterile office of the Melora Legal Observation Office, Overseer Krellin Vex stared at the live documentary feed from Earth.
Routine human medical care. This should be a simple compliance review.
Now, I ain't got no insurance. Dentist is 2 hours away, so I'm gonna handle this myself.
On the monitor, the human picked up a pair of rusty vice grips and a bottle of wild turkey.
Those are not sanitary instruments. He cannot be serious.
Got me these vice grips and a shot of courage. One pull. It's over.
He's doing what? This is not routine care. This is self-mutilation.
Krellin's clipboard slipped from his trembling hand, clattering to the floor.
All right, camera lady. You might want to step back. This ain't gonna be pretty.
Overseer Krellin could only watch, paralyzed, as the human positioned the rusty tool inside his own mouth. Maya Chen's documentary van rolled through the Tennessee hills. Her crew had been hired by the Melora Legal Observation Office to film routine human medical care. Budget cuts had sent them to a rural garage instead of a clinic. At the address, Maya stepped out, eyeing the cluttered property with unease.
You the camera people? Get in here. I've got something worth filming.
This man looks like he's in serious pain. What is going on here?
Been a bad week for this tooth, but I ain't going to no emergency room.
You really should see a doctor. We can come back later.
No need. I got it handled. Just keep that camera rolling.
The crew exchanged uneasy glances but set up their equipment.
This is gonna be a story they won't forget.
On the workbench, a bottle of wild turkey stood conspicuously next to a clean shot glass.
Dentist would cost me $1,400. That's a month's pay, so I'm handling it myself.
This is insane. You could get a lethal infection or bleed out on camera.
Whiskey kills germs just fine, and a little pain never killed nobody.
By the stars, this human intends surgery with drinking spirits and a rusty tool.
He held up the vice grips, jaws still smeared with old grease, glinting under the garage light. The camera operator's hands shook. The sound recordist turned away. Maya stepped backward. Larry uncorked the wild turkey and poured a shot. The smell of cheap whiskey filled the air.
They think I'm crazy. Let 'em. Soon as this tooth's out, I'll be right as rain.
I must report this. It violates every interspecies medical protocol.
The documentary team stood frozen, cameras rolling, as Larry Donahue prepared to pull his own tooth with the vice grips. Larry tipped the whiskey bottle over the rusty vice grips, amber liquid splashing onto the grease-stained metal.
Good enough. Wild turkey'll kill anything. Better than what the dentist uses, I reckon.
We can't just let him do this. Someone has to stop this.
The camera operator hesitated, finger hovering over the record button, his face pale.
Keep rolling. This is too important. The galaxy needs to see this.
Supervisor, the human is about to perform self-surgery with a contaminated tool. I request immediate intervention.
A cold voice replied over the comm, Directive 7 Alpha, observe only. Do not intervene.
Now you all look like you seen a ghost. It's just a tooth. Ain't nothing to fret over.
Larry downed the whiskey shot in one gulp, grimacing at the burn, then exhaled sharply.
Alrighty, here goes nothing.
Larry opened his mouth wide, the infected molar pulsing red and angry. He guided the rusty vice grips into position, the cold steel kissing the inflamed gum.
3, 2, 1.
The moment crystallized, Maya's hand frozen over her mouth, the camera light blinking red, Krellin's breath hitching on the other side of the galaxy. Larry's knuckles whitened and he wrenched upward with savage force. A sickening, visceral crunch tore through the garage, followed by a wet sucking noise that seemed to last forever. The sound of tearing tissue and snapping root.
Oh God, he actually...
The camera operator doubled over, retching. The sound recordist recoiled as if struck, his headphones clattering to the floor.
That sound, the pop of a living joint surrendering, will echo in my nightmares until I die.
On the monitor, the image flickered, a flash of crimson in the bucket, before the feed cut to black. In the darkness, only Larry's ragged, pain-hitched coughing could be heard, then a low, wet chuckle. The monitor flickered back to life, revealing Larry's calloused hand. Between his thumb and forefinger, the prize, a gnarled molar, 3 long roots slick with blood and flecks of gum tissue.
There she is. Come right out. Feels better already.
He leaned over and spat a thick string of bloody saliva into the bucket. Then he brought the whiskey bottle to his lips, took a long swig and swished it around his open mouth before spitting again.
You're bleeding everywhere. This is a medical emergency.
Larry grinned wider, the fresh gap a dark, glistening socket. He held the tooth up to the camera lens, then pressed it against a napkin like a twisted trophy. Behind him, the sound recordist flung open the side door and staggered outside, retching. Through the door, the sound of vomiting echoed back.
This is not medical care. This is an atrocity. I have to act.
Krellin's trembling fingers flew across the console, tapping emergency protocols. The red priority button lit up, pulsing like a heartbeat. On the holo screen, a classified document crystallized. Class 1 war crime petition. Subject: self-inflicted torture under documented pre-medication. The Melora insignia glowed blood red at the top. With a final keystroke, the report shot through the interstellar network, across the galaxy. Council delegates stirred as alerts chimed on their personal consoles. In his darkened office, Krelon watched the transmission bar complete, then slumped back, whispering a prayer to the Melora ancestors for guidance.
This footage defies explanation. We must convene a war crimes hearing immediately.
Delegates gasped as the full footage replayed on their personal screens. A human, Pliers, a shot of whiskey, and that terrible triumphant grin through a mask of blood. Back in Tennessee, Larry wiped fresh blood off his chin with a rag and called out, "Soup's on, folks. Y'all ain't vegetarian, are ya?"
Come on now, you look like you could use a warm meal. Got beans and venison, secret spices, best cure for a hard day.
Mr. Donahue, we really should go. The council might want an official statement, and this footage is already spreading.
Statement? For what? Pulling a tooth? Shoot, that's just Tuesday round here. Now sit and eat.
The crew exchanged exhausted, horrified glances. One sound technician whispered hoarsely, "Is this really happening?" Larry ladled chili into mismatched plastic bowls. The steam carried the scent of cumin and chili powder, oddly grounding amid the horror. Light years away, the council's vote was unanimous. An emergency hearing would begin. Humanity's newest diplomatic crisis had just been served. In the Grand Council chamber, High Arbiter Thalrin brought down the ceremonial gavel. The echoes faded before he spoke. "We will examine this human atrocity." In his office, Krelon's console chimed with an encrypted communique. He was now the lead witness for the prosecution, personally responsible for presenting the case against Earth.
Maya set her spoon down, uneaten chili congealing. Larry, you don't understand. The aliens who hired us, they're calling this a war crime.
Larry chuckled, spooning more chili. War crime? They obviously ain't been to a county fair pulling contest. This is just a Tuesday.
But you could face galactic sanctions or worse. You need a defense.
Larry leaned back, patting his belly. Defense? The footage speaks for itself. I fixed a problem. Cost me $11. That's my defense.
Light years away, Krellin practiced his opening statement before a mirror, his voice trembling with righteous indignation. The human violated every tenet of civilized medicine. The council's clerk announced the hearing schedule. Evidence packets, including Larry's full biography and the tooth itself, were dispatched to all 700 delegates. Maya's datapad pinged with the formal summons. She read it silently, then looked at Larry, who was scrubbing the chili pot and humming an old country tune. The machine of interspecies law was in motion. But Larry Donahue just dried his hands and asked, "Anybody want some peach cobbler?" "Got some in the freezer." The summons materialized as a holographic document in front of Larry, glowing with the Galactic Council's seal. Maya's crew gathered behind him, watching the alien text translate into English.
You gotta be kidding, this some kind of reality show?
It's a war crime summon. You've been formally charged with self-inflicted torture.
Torture? It's a tooth. By that logic, I should have been arrested for being married twice.
The crew received simultaneous subpoenas. All footage, raw and unedited, was now galactic evidence. In his office, Krelon paced, his voice rising in rehearsal. The accused showed no remorse, no fear. He even offered us chili. High Arbiter Thalrin surveyed the packed chamber. The schedule was set. The prosecution would present first, then the defendant would be allowed to speak.
All right. So I get to talk to him? Fine. I'll tell him exactly why I did it.
The hearing is in 6 hours. You should probably put on a shirt.
The garage fell silent. For the first time, Larry's grin faded. The galaxy was about to judge him for pulling his own tooth. High Arbiter Thalrin's gavel shattered the silence. The war crimes hearing for humanity had begun. Krillon Vex stepped to the testimony podium, his hand shaking as he pointed at the main screen. The footage started.
Esteemed delegates, I present to you a heinous act of self-mutilation. A human used a rusted tool and distilled spirits to tear out his own tooth.
The garage feed replayed. Larry clamping the pliers, the wet crunch, his bloody grin. Delegates recoiled. The video froze on Larry's blood-smeared face, tooth raised. A gasp swept the chamber.
This human felt no pain, no regret? He invited the crew for a meal afterward. This is barbarism.
On the video link, Larry watched himself on the big screen, a faint smirk tugging at his cheek.
They think I'm some kind of monster. Wait till they hear about root canals.
The High Arbiter leaned forward, patterns darkening. The prosecution rests. The accused will now speak. The council's eyes fixed on the screen. Larry Donahue cleared his throat, the sound echoing through the galactic hall.
Well, I ain't no war criminal, Your Honor, or whatever. I just had a bad tooth.
Larry held up the tooth, still crusted with blood for the council to see.
Dentist down the road wanted 1,400 credits for this. Here's the bill. This here bottle of wild turkey, $11, and it does double duty.
A murmur rippled through the council. Some delegates leaned forward, their expressions shifting from disgust to curiosity.
1,400 versus 11. I ain't no mathematician, but that's a month's pay. I did what I had to do.
Objection! The cost does not erase the act. The law is clear. Self-inflicted harm with intent is torture.
High Arbiter Thalrin raised a slender hand, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing in contemplation.
I ain't saying you're wrong about your laws, but where I'm from, you fix things yourself when the system's broke. That's just Tuesday.
The council fell silent. For the first time, the painting of a barbarian flickered, replaced by something more human. Krillon stepped back to the testimony podium, his crest flushed with anger, ready to strike.
You speak of costs, but pain is pain. Did you feel nothing when you tore flesh from bone?
Son, I've had worse from a rusty nail, This was just Tuesday.
A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. Some delegates recoiled at his callousness. Others exchanged glances of dawning respect.
You glorify agony. This is proof of a species that has normalized self-harm.
Enough. This hearing is in recess. We will summon a human cultural expert before resuming.
Krillon's clenched fists trembled at the podium. The pillars of his prosecution were crumbling. The council chamber dissolved into murmurs, the once unified shock fracturing into debate.
Cultural expert? Shoot, just ask my neighbor. He pulled his own tooth last spring.
The galaxy's highest court waited, suspended between the weight of law and the stubborn reality of human poverty. A human diplomat appeared on the holoscreen, face calm. He had spent decades bridging human and alien cultures. Humans have a phrase, he began. Field expedient medicine. When help is distant and pain is now, they act. He displayed archival images, soldiers stitching comrades, pioneers pulling teeth, astronauts sealing wounds in zero gravity. All voluntary, all human. I ain't paying that, the diplomat explained, is not callousness. It's a rational response to an irrational price.
Objection. That garage was no battlefield. He chose to do this on camera for some documentary.
The expert countered that recording the act proved its legitimacy. Humans share knowledge, even hard lessons, openly. A shift moved through the council. Some delegates no longer saw a monster. They saw a problem solver. Larry Donahue pulled a tooth with what he had. That is not torture. That is human, the diplomat concluded.
They are nodding. The council is actually nodding. My case is slipping away.
High Arbiter Thalrin's gavel rose again. The hearing would resume, but the balance had irrevocably shifted. High Arbiter Thalrin's voice cut through the murmurs, directed at the rugged face on the holoscreen. Larry Donahue, we have one final question. Would you do it again?
Heck, I'd pull my neighbor's tooth for a six-pack.
A wave of disbelief rippled through the chamber. Some delegates barked harsh, alien laughs. Others covered their faces in renewed horror.
This is an admission of further planned crimes. He must be silenced.
Order. This body will not interpret humor as criminal intent.
I ain't saying it's for everyone, but if you ain't got options, you make do. That's just being human.
The absurdity crystallized. Prosecuting this man for fixing a tooth with pliers would mean prosecuting any human who ever improvised. Krillon's shoulders sagged. His case, once a righteous crusade, now looked like a vendetta against poverty.
This council will now move to formal deliberation. A vote will decide the fate of this petition.
On the screen, Larry Donahue leaned back in his garage chair, arms crossed, waiting. Krillon Vex took the podium one last time. His voice cracked, no longer righteous but desperate, fighting for a cause already lost.
If you allow this, what comes next? Self-surgery, home amputations? We must uphold the sanctity of life.
Some delegates shifted uncomfortably at the fervor, but the argument had already lost its edge. The chamber was weary. High Arbiter Thalrin's gaze turned to the hollow screen. Larry Donahue, do you have final words?
I ain't a lawyer, Your Honor, but I know what it's like to not have options. I did what I had to do.
The simplicity settled over the chamber like a shroud. No grandstanding, just a man who fixed a problem. Krellin stood rigid, hands gripping the podium, eyes locked on the screen as if willing the human to vanish.
This council will now vote. Delegates, cast your decision.
A heavy silence descended. Larry Donahue straightened in his chair, the rusty vice grips still visible on the bench behind him. The fate of a man, a species, and a principle hung in the balance as the voting panels lit up across the chamber. As delegates cast their votes, green and red lights flickered across the darkened chamber. Krillon Vex's fists clenched white at the podium, his eyes darting between the tally and the calm human on screen. In the Tennessee garage, Maya and her crew huddled around a datapad, breath held, every muscle tight. Slowly, overwhelmingly, the green light spread. The chamber absorbed the result in stunned silence. Larry Donahue lowered his soda can, a slow smirk spreading across his weathered face.
High Arbiter Thalrin's voice boomed. The petition is dismissed. The accused is exonerated.
Krillon stood motionless, his crest drooping, defeated by a man who pulled his own tooth. In the garage, Maya exhaled sharply, her clipboard clattering to the floor as relief washed over the crew.
Knew it, Larry said, raising his soda and a mock toast. Common sense ain't dead after all.
The chamber exhaled. The first interstellar war crime case against a human had collapsed under the weight of a tooth and a bottle of whiskey.
Before this session adjourns, I enter into the Interspecies Medical Ethics Charter Addendum 73 F. Voluntary human field dentistry, while distressing to witnesses, is legally permitted under Earth's principle of I ain't paying that.
A tentacled scribe stepped forward, its laser pen etching the new addendum into the sacred charter scroll. The words shimmered, then hardened into law, a permanent reminder of one man's stubbornness. A commemorative plaque materialized on the holoscreen before Larry, inscribed, "For upholding human self-reliance."
Well, They gave me a plaque for pulling my own tooth. This is the strangest Tuesday yet.
Maya Chen watched the plaque appear, a tired smile breaking through. The footage would now be historical record. Krillon Vex stared at the plaque as if it might burn him, then slowly returned to his seat, silent. The council rose, many delegates nodding in solemn acknowledgement. Humanity had been understood, if not fully accepted. Deep space, the council station orbiting Earth. The galaxy had just added a new, improbable exception to its laws.
Guess my new dentist is the liquor store. Y'all come back anytime.
A week later, an interstellar courier drone descended into Larry's driveway, a small metallic package secured in its grasp. Larry tore open the packaging, and the commemorative plaque gleamed in the Tennessee sun.
Well, look at that. For upholding human self-reliance, they even spelled my name right.
Maya Chen's van pulled up, the crew ready to film the follow-up interview.
Check it out, healed up fine, and now I got a trophy for my trouble.
Larry, you're officially interstellar history. How does it feel?
Feels like I still ain't paying a dentist. $11 and I get a plaque. Best deal in the galaxy.
The camera captured his grin, the plaque, and the gap where the tooth had been.
They're gonna show this in schools someday. Larry Donahue, DDS, Doctor of Drunken Dentistry. Now, y'all want some chili? Got a new batch?
Weeks passed. The garage returned to its dusty, cluttered state, grease-stained benches, scattered tools, the faint smell of oil and old metal. Larry held up the commemorative plaque, reading the engraving with a wry smile. He poured himself a generous shot of whiskey, then set the glass down squarely on the plaque's polished face.
Well, that works.
A neighbor's old pickup crunched to a halt outside. An older man in a sun-beaten cap leaned through the open doorway.
Come on in. I was just testing my new coaster.
The neighbor just stared, then pointed at the plaque and muttered something about humans being a different breed.
$11 and a tooth got me that. Best trade I ever made.
On the wall, the rusty vice grips hung from a nail, a faint rust stain still visible on the wood. And the plaque stayed on the workbench, now bearing the wet, amber ring of a recently set whiskey glass. In his sterile office, Kralin held the physical copy of his war crime report, the case number now stamped with a single red word, dismissed. He replayed the footage one final time, the crunch, the bloody grin, the casual offer of chili. Each frame made his crest twitch.
Barbaric, and yet, they won. That stubborn creature changed our laws.
He scribbled a small note and affixed it to the file. Refer to Addendum 73F. Then he slid the file into the deep archive drawer, its faint thud the only sound in the room. Kralin rose and walked to the observation window, the blue curve of Earth filling the view.
These humans, they just don't care about our rules, and still they thrive.
He allowed himself a small, bitter chuckle, the first sound he'd made that wasn't a plea or an objection. The drawer's lock clicked shut, sealing away the first and last Melora war crime petition against a human. Kralin turned back to his desk, the ghost of a smile still on his face. Addendum 73F, he whispered to no one. Months later, in a cramped editing suite, Maya Chen reached the final frames of her documentary. She slid the shot of Larry's plaque and whiskey glass into the timeline, and a title appeared, Pulling Teeth, A Human Story. The documentary premiered at the Calthy Interstellar Film Festival, drawing gasps and laughs from a diverse alien audience. A holo billboard above the festival read, Larry Donahue, the man who pulled a tooth and changed the law.
We captured something historic. One man's pain and a galaxy's lesson. He wasn't a monster. He was just a man who fixed things himself. And the galaxy learned to respect that.
The documentary looped across 7 systems, its final image always the same. The plaque, the whiskey, and a man who refused to pay.
Larry Donahue never asked for this. He just wanted the pain to stop.
She closed her laptop, the light catching the reflection of Earth's blue curve in her window. One man, one tooth, one principle, and the addendum that would echo forever. The garage settled into dusk, the plaque still bearing its whiskey glass ring. The bottle of wild turkey stood half-empty beside it, a quiet monument to an improbable victory. On the wall, the rusty vice grips hung from a nail, their task done. A faint rust stain marked the wood beneath them, a permanent reminder of one man's stubbornness. Outside, Larry's old pickup sat in the yard, dust from the driveway settling in the evening air. The light faded, painting the sky in purple and gold over the Tennessee hills. A slow zoom out, the garage shrinking, then the curve of Earth glowing blue in the void of space. The Galactic Council station orbited silently, its ring catching the starlight, a silent witness. Deeper still into the starfield, where no voice but the narrator's remained. Addendum 73F, voluntary human field dentistry while distressing to witnesses, is legally permitted.